Robin Hood and the Tinker. Now it was told before how the £100 were set up Robin Hood's head, and how the Sheriff of Nottingham swore that he himself would seize Robin, both because he would fain have to have the £200 and because the slain man was a kinsman of his own. Now the sheriff did not yet know what force Robin had about him in Sherwood, but thought that he might serve a warrant for his arrest as he could upon any other man that he had broken the laws. Therefore he offered 80 golden angels to anyone who would serve this warrant. But men of Nottingham Town knew more of Robin Hood and his doings than the sheriff did, and many laughed to think of serving a warrant upon the bold outlaw, knowing well that all they would get for such service would be a cracked crown, so that no one came forward to take the matter in hand. Thus a fortnight passed, in which none came forward to do the sheriff's business. Then said he, "A right good reward have I offered to whomsoever would serve my warrant upon Robin Hood, and I marvelled that no one has come to undertake this task." Then one of his men who was near him said, "Good master, thou wottest not the force that Robin Hood has about him, and how little he cares for warrant of the king or sheriff. Truly no one likes to go on this service, for fear of cracked crowns and broken bones." "Then I hold all Nottingham men to be cowards," said the sheriff, "and let me see the man in all Nottinghamshire that dare disobey the warrant of our sovereign Lord King Harry, for by the shrine of Saint Edmund I will hang him 40 cubits high. But if no man in Nottingham dare with 80 angels, I will send elsewhere, for there shall be a man of mettle somewhere in this land." Then he called up a messenger in whom he placed great trust, and bade him saddle his horse and make ready to go to Lincoln town, to see wherever he could find anyone there that would be his bidding and win the reward. So that same morning the messenger started forth upon his errand. Bright shone the sun upon the dusty highway that led from Nottingham to Lincoln, stretching away all wide over hill and dale. Dusty was the highway, and dusty the throat of the messenger, so that his heart was glad when he saw before him the sight of the Blue Boar Inn, when somewhat more than half his journey was done. The inn looked fair to his eye, and the shade of the oak tree that stood around it seemed cool and pleasant, so he alighted himself from the horse to rest himself for a time, calling for a pot of ale to refresh his thirsty throat. There he saw a party of right jovial fellows seated beneath the spreading oak, shaded the greensward in front of the door. There was a tinker, 2 barefoot friars, and a party of 6 of the king's foresters, all clad in Lincoln green, and all of them were quaffing, humming ale, and singing merry ballads of the good old times. Loud laughed the foresters. At yeast were bandied about between the singing, and louder laughed the friars, for they were lusty men with beards that curled like the wool of black rams. But loudest of them all laughed the tinker, and he sang more sweetly than any of the rest. His bag was his hammer hung upon a twig of the oak tree, and near by, leaning his good stout crackled, as thick as the wrist, and nodded at the end. "Come," cried one of the foresters to the tired messenger, "come join us for this shot. Ho, landlord, bring a fresh pot of ale for each man." The messenger was glad enough to sit down along with the others who were there, for his limbs were weary and the ale was good. "Now, what news bearest thou so fast?" quoth one, "and whither stridest thou to-day?" The messenger was a chatty soul and loved a bit of gossip dearly. Besides, the pot of ale warmed his heart, so that, settling himself in an easy corner of the inn's bench, while the host leaned upon the doorway and the hostess stood with her hands beneath her apron, he unfolded his budget of news with great comfort. He told all from the very first, how Robin Hood had slain the forester, and how he had hidden in the green woods to escape the law. How that he lived therein, all against the law, God wot, slaying his mighty deers and laying toll on fat about knight and esquire, so that no dared travel even on the broad Welting Street or the Fossway for fear of him. How that the sheriff had amidst to serve the king's warrant upon the same route, though little would be mind warrant of either king or sheriff, for he was far from being a law-abiding man. Then he told how none could be found in all Nottingham town to serve this warrant, for fear of cracked petals and broken bones, and how that he, the messenger, was now upon his way to Lincoln town to find of what mettle the Lincoln man might be. "Now, come, I, forsooth, from good Banby town," said the little tinker, "and no one nigh Nottingham nor Sherwood either, and that be the mark, can hold curl with my grip. Why, lads, did I not meet that mad wag Simon of Ailey, even at the famous fair at Hetterford town, and beat him in the ring at the place before Sir Robin of Leslie and his lady. This same Robin Hood, of whom I wot I never had heard before, is a right merry bailed, but gin he be strong, and not I stronger, and gin he be slay, and not I slayer. Now, by the bright eyes of Nan o' the Mill, and by mean o' name, and that what o' the crabstaff, and mine own mother's son, and that's myself, will I, what o' the crabstaff, meet the same studly rouge, and gin he mid to not to steal of our glory sovereign King Henry, and the warrant of our good sheriff of Nottinghamshire. I will be so bruised, beaten, and bemoul his paid, that he shall never move a finger or toe again. Hear ye that, bully boys? Now art thou the man for my farthing, cried the messenger, and back thou goest with me to Nottingham town.